In this video, I'm going to show you a few ways that I've used to improve timing, rhythm, accuracy and speed as a lead guitar player. A big problem that I've seen over the years as a guitar teacher is that most people just don't know their fretboard well enough. So they're worried about, they want to play over like a chord progression, something like this. And they're saying that their problem is in terms of timing, going from place to place. So they want to play like, moving around the fretboard, playing some basic vocabulary. The issue actually isn't in their technical, well, it's not always in their technical ability at least. A lot of the time, it's actually in their ability to be able to move around the fretboard. So if you're watching this and you're going, I actually don't know scales and things like this around the fretboard, it's really, really important to know. So one of the things I would make sure that I would know is something like the caged system. So I can play an A minor chord in various caged chord positions up and down the neck, of which there's 5, and then around each caged chord position, let's say if I'm doing position 1, I want to be able to build my minor pentatonic scale in position 2, and then in position 3, etc, etc. Once you actually really know the fretboard really well, then you can start working on things like the timing. Because if you've got a little lick in your head, let's say just something like that, and you want to be able to move it around the fretboard, if you can't just play me the shape 2 shape or the shape 3 shape, like moving around the fretboard to like do all of these different scale forms and stuff, you're never going to move your lick around. So, genuinely, I would say one of the first things you want to do in terms of timing is make sure you actually know the fretboard. Then you can start moving ideas around. So, let's say you want to play straight 8th note stuff. 8th note, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... That's just a very, very basic way of moving up different pentatonic shapes, so shape 5 to shape 1 to shape 2, but I'm able to do that in straight 8th notes because I'm not even thinking about where the notes are, I'm just going in and out of them. So, like I say, fretboard knowledge is a really, really big problem for a lot of guitar players. Now, another thing, once you've got past the point of actually knowing your fretboard really well, it then boils down to, quite often, technical skill. So you need to make sure that if you want to play a constant stream of straight 8th notes like I was doing there, you need to actually just take a really basic lead guitar example, something like this, and just make sure that you can play that over and over again to your metronome, to a drum machine, play it over like a rock guitar backing track or a blues guitar backing track or a jazz fusion backing track, whatever it is that you want to play to, just have the backing track there so that you can play along to it in time. And if you're taking small fragments, you haven't got to think about lots of fretboard knowledge. You're just going back and forward, back and forward. Now, once you've got that level of timing with that small fragment of the scale, you can move it to lots of different parts of the scale. So what I'm doing there is I'm diagonally moving through my minor pentatonic scale and just going from there. So that's another thing, is just build up your timing with small fragments of like scales or arpeggios or whatever it is. And then another thing that leads into all of this is accuracy. A lot of players are talking to me about, so I teach guitar for a living, so I get a lot of players asking me questions about how do I improve my accuracy and all of that sort of thing. Well, it depends on what it is that you're trying to play, but one of the big problems that I see a lot of people have is accuracy when it comes to the picking hand. So first things first, you want to make sure that you're actually holding the pick correctly, or you want to have a good grip on the pick at least anyway. So if you hold your pick between your thumb and your first finger, that's a good way to grip it. Then if you can also have your thumb on the side of the finger and pointing out a slight angle, so that when you come to pick the strings, you actually have like a 45-degree angle as you slice through the string. That sort of thing actually really, really helps, making sure that you can hit the strings correctly. Now, if you just want to get accurate at making sure you hit each string properly and you're working on your alternate picking, hold something like a chord, turn your chord into like a chordal capo, and just work on playing through each string. So just go down, up, down, up, down, up, and back. That's a good way of getting used to where all of the strings are and getting used to like going across them and all that stuff. Then you can just work on more pick attacks. So you could do 2 attacks per string. 3 attacks per string. And then you can move it up to 4 attacks per string. Now the thing is with that, if you're doing your exercises just working purely on your accuracy of your picking technique, and you're not playing scales or riffs or lead guitar concepts or anything like that in this hand, you're not having to worry about what the fretting hand is doing. So that's a nice way of limiting the synchronization between the two hands, just so you can work on getting your accuracy of your picking down. Another thing that you could do after that, though, if you're struggling with the left hand or the fretting hand, so to speak, is, well, no one really wants to hear it, because a lot of guitar players say scales are boring. I don't really know why they say that they're boring, to be honest, because actually there's just a mechanical fundamental part of playing up and down your instrument. And if you enjoy playing your instrument, playing up and down scales isn't really a chore. But one of the things I would suggest, you take something like the A major scale and work on it in caged shapes. Play it all the way up and all the way back. And then you can do that in 3 notes per string. So the thing is with that, though, I'm talking about caged shapes for a major scale, and I'm talking about 3 notes per string shapes for a major scale. If you don't know that information, you can't practice that as an exercise. So first things first, you want to look at learning the scales that you're going to use. Now, one of the things that I did when I wanted to work on all of this stuff, I sat down and worked out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of exercises that I could use for picking hand concepts, fretting hand concepts, whether that was learning the scales or working on legato technique or other things like this, synchronization ideas, so working on stuff between the 2 hands. Also, a lot of the things that I worked on, I wanted to get a lot of arpeggios into my playing and that sort of stuff, so I worked on exercises that would work on the right hand element of that, which is called sweep picking. But then, of course, by the virtue of doing the sweep picking stuff there, what you're going to be doing is getting your fretting hand trained to be able to play arpeggios. And the thing is, what I did with that, I then turned those exercises that I wrote for myself into material that I could work on with my students. And then finally, after I was doing years of working with people one-to-one in schools and colleges and teaching in my studio and all that sort of thing, I then turned all of that stuff into my book series, which is now all available at Cutting Edge Guitar, my online platform. But my point is that I sat down and I decided, okay, I want to work on my timing and my accuracy and all of this stuff. And all I put into motion was a series of exercises, really, that would solve the issues that I had. So it's kind of reverse engineering the problem that you've got and then putting something in motion or in process to solve your own issue. I actually turned that entire workout program that I was doing into a 3-book series. So there's 3 books in the series. What I've done, though, I've turned them into one complete volume where you can get all 3 books in one complete technique encyclopedia. If you want to pick that up digitally, you can pick it up at Cutting Edge Guitar, my online learning platform. Or if you want to get yourself a copy of the print version, they're all available at Amazon. And they do come bundled with some digital bonuses that you can pick up at my website as well. All of the links for all of that stuff will be in the books. So, in short, that's the thing. I've tried to give you as much information as I can here, but realistically, there just isn't time in a short YouTube video to tell you all of the things that I did. But if you want to pick up all of the things that I did and what I share with my students, there it all is for you guys. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you another one sometime soon. Cheers.